Hi guys, welcome back to Oldies but Goodies movie reviews, and for today's movie, we got The Matrix. Let's get into it.
First off, use your words, bro. Speak.
Let me start off by saying that this movie is a timeless classic in its own. It still holds up even to today's standards. A lot of today's movies can't even hold a dime next to this. Like, to be honest, this movie's a timeless classic. It's a wonderful piece of art. And I know a lot of you are saying, but this movie isn't even that old. But let me tell you, 20 years, yeah, it kind of is. I mean, come on, 20 years. 20 years is a long time. I mean, come on now. Especially in the movie industry, where each and every year movies are improving visually and with the CGI, even though I know a lot of us still like and prefer the practical effects of back then. If you go back and rewatch movies that came out during the time of The Matrix, for example, Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, and you go back and rewatch it, you'll see that CGI really doesn't hold up. I mean, come on now, do I even have to mention Jar Jar Binks? Yeah, I guess it's a little too late for that, isn't it? Well, enough about that. That isn't to say that The Matrix isn't without its fair share of aging problems. For example, the scene where Neo's fighting one of the agents in the rooftops, and the slowdown is still really cool, but the bullets and the ripple effect, yeah, that really doesn't hold up nowadays. I mean, if you go back and really look at it, you'll tell that this movie came out about 20 years ago. And also one other scene where Neo, Trinity, and Morpheus are making their escape in the train tunnels when they go into a phone booth and they get phone called out of there. Yeah, that scene really doesn't age that well either. If you haven't seen it in a while, go back and watch it and you'll see why. But those are my only gripes with this movie because it aged really, really well. So now let's get into the full review. Right off the gate, it starts off with action, and it immediately grabs your attention with Trinity surrounded by police officers in a small room. But you get the sense that the only ones in danger here are the police officers, and of course, then she proceeds to kick all their aces. At this point, the movie starts to show you that everything is not what it seems, especially when she leaps from one building to another building, which no normal human could do, which is why the police officers stop, and the only one chasing her is this mysterious agent. Now, if you're still thinking that this is your typical summer action blockbuster movie, well, you're kind of right, to be honest. But not really. Let me tell you why. Because this movie takes a lot of twists and turns. Because soon after, we get to finally meet our protagonist, Mr. Anderson. Or Neo, or the Chosen One, whichever one you like. Now, to get to the point, the adventure doesn't really start until Neo meets Morpheus, and now Morpheus is a character all of his own, mysterious in a lot of ways, because at this point of the movie, we have no idea who he is. But somehow he knows everything about Neo and where he is at all times. Like in the movie scene where he tries to help Neo escape from the police officers and Mr. Smith, but of course, he ends up getting captured anyways and gets interrogated by the agents. And this is one of my favorite scenes, and the great special effects part right here, where they erase Neo's mouth, literally erasing his mouth, I mean. And then it proceeds to them just inserting a tracking bug, like a freaking real tracking bug, an actual tracking bug that goes into his stomach, into the belly button, I mean. And that whole scene just reminded me of an episode of Jimmy Neutron Boy Genius when they have to go inside Carl's body to fight an infection, and that little robot thing just reminded me of all the viruses inside of Carl. Okay, so when Neo finally meets Morpheus, he has to choose to either stay asleep and be ignorant to what's really going on around him, or wake up and see the truth of what's really going on. And we all know what he chose, so let's get on with it. I have no red pills, but I have this Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta that has red hair. If you didn't know, he chose the red pill. In this next scene, we have Neo waking up to see the horror of his reality. At first, he thinks he's dead because he doesn't want to accept that this is the truth of what has happened to humanity. mean, who could blame him? I'd be tripping balls too if I were him.
Jesus.
So now let's skip a little forward where Neo goes into the construct zone, a place, well, a program I should say, where they could load in anything they need, like weapons, training exercises, clothes, literally anything they need. This is where the movie has you questioning reality itself with questions like, what is reality? And how do you define reality? Like, is this even real? Is anything real, to be honest? Or is it just the Matrix? And this is what separates this movie from the rest of the pack, because it just keeps asking those type of hard-hitting questions where it just makes you think about everything, honestly. And that's why this movie has such a large following and such a huge fan base. But I digress, because we're not even halfway through the movie yet. Now we skip ahead to where Neo's finally done with his training with Morpheus, and then Morpheus proceeds to explain to him and to us that if you die in the Matrix, you die in real life too. Why? Because the body can't live without the mind, and the mind is a powerful thing. Now let's skip ahead to the fight scene with Neo and Mr. Smith. Wait, hold up. I know you're asking me, why am I skipping so much? Why? Well, because I want you to go out and actually buy this movie. I don't want to ruin the whole plot for you. Like, come on, this movie is one of the best movies to ever be made. Now, spoiler warning, for those of you that have not watched this movie, I will now be talking about the end of the movie. Oh wait, I mean, it doesn't take that long to click out of a video, so.
A few moments later.
Okay, they're gone? They're gone, alright. So now let's get back to the fight. Neo still hasn't mastered the Matrix, but he's learning. Throughout this fight against Mr. Smith even notices that Neo is getting faster through time.
Where the hell did you come from? Damn it, he's learning as he fights.
Ultimately, Neo ends up winning the first round, even if just barely escaping the train. But still, now it's a race against time, because not only is he in danger, but his friends in the real world too, because the Sentinels have tracked their location and they're on their way. And the only way to stop them is by EMP. But they can't use the EMP while Neo is still inside the Matrix, because then it'll kill Neo too. Now Neo has to make his way across the city to get to the telephone booth inside one of the old abandoned apartment buildings. But all throughout, he's getting chased by the agents. Those cheeky bastards. They really grind my gears, I'll tell you that. But as soon as he gets to where he needs to be and opens the door, he's greeted by none other than Mr. Smith and some bullets. A lot of bullets, you know, to the chest. Here, here, here. And well, yeah, you get the point. He's dead. End of the movie, guys. So thank you for watching Oldies but Goodies movie reviews. This is your host. This has been your host, 017. I'll catch you guys next time. It's what I would have said, suckers, but no. You're forgetting. Neo is the motherfucking main character in this movie. Jesus, guys. Impatient much? Come on now. I haven't even got to the best part yet. But how is he alive, you ask? Well, because of the oldest cliche in the book. The power of love. Yes, love. Because Trinity confesses his love towards Neo and gives him a big smooch in the mouth, waking him up in the Matrix. And just like good old Goku, he wakes up out of nowhere, stands up, and automatically just motherfluffing masters Ultra Matrix. And he gets to work on Mr. Smith, stopping all the bullets by Mr. Smith and the agents. Just like that. He doesn't even have to touch them. He's just like, bitch, please. Neo not only just stops bullets by just putting his hand out, he pulls a Mr. Smith and invades his own body. What when Neo invades Mr. Smith's body, like Mr. Smith and the rest of the agents can invade anyone else and take over their bodies. I mean, if you haven't watched that movie, yeah, they can do that. So he takes over his body and just makes him explode. But there's no time for celebration because Neo has to escape now because the Sentinels are already going to work on his friends. They're destroying the ship and they have to use the EMP right away. Boom! Just like that. No choice but to use the EMP. I know, McKinney, we all know Neo survives. Well, that's it for this review, guys. Thank you for watching Oldies but Goodies movie reviews. And I'll catch you guys next time. This has been Zero. Please hit us that motherfucking like button. And I'll catch you guys next time. Peace!